So for those who are familiar with my content, you all know that I'm usually a very positive person when it comes to my coverage on video games. I try not to stomp on it because I was in the industry and I know how certain things go. But with this one, it's really hard to stay positive. Let's talk about Borderlands 4. Okay, so ever since the game was kind of like assigned for review, there's been nothing but problems and things that I've seen online. And I know how social media is. People tend to like hype negative things a lot. I believe I said it in one of my videos. So I decided to buy the game and test it out for myself. I was even planning to do a dissected video, which this was supposed to be the dissected video. The game crashed 3 times on my system. These are my specs, by the way. I have a top of the line computer because it's part of what I do for a living. I do 3D graphics, so I need to have the best hardware available. And it was stuck at around 50 frames per second without turning on DLSS, because I like to play my games without frame generation, and so far I've been able to. So far I haven't had any problems, any glitches. I thought that it was unbelievable, the fact that this game, it's not that you can opt to use DLSS, is that you must use DLSS in order for this game to work well. And I know some people are going to say, well, 50 frames per second is fine. No, it's not fine. We're in 2025. Games should be working at 120, but I have a 5090. There is no excuse for this game that looks like it does to perform the way it does. Now let's talk a little bit about the crashes, and that's why the gameplay that you're seeing on screen is from the first part of the game, and I didn't get to capture much gameplay because it crashed 3 times. Every time I tried to record gameplay, it crashed. And yes, I updated drivers, and yes, I have the latest patch up until the recording of this video. I got the game. Somebody suggested like, oh, you're probably playing on an early build. I'm not playing on an early build. I bought the game and started playing like everybody else. I didn't have any early access or anything. So that was very surprising. I haven't had hard crashes with video games in a long time. It's usually game-breaking bugs, crashes that completely freezes your computer for 2 seconds, keeps the audio in a loop, and then goes to desktop and gives me this message 3 times. The same message, by the way. It's always the graphics, whatever. And I know somebody's gonna say, well, it's because you're recording gameplay. I'm using Shadowplay, which is the NVIDIA thing to record gameplay. I've been using this on any game, and it works fine. Why wouldn't it work on this one? Now let's talk about the looks of this game. So from what you see on screen, you can see the geometry. It's not that great. The geometry is very flat, and actually I managed to extract a couple of models. We'll talk about that in a second, some of the gun models and character models that I saw from the game files. In game, the geometry that you see, the landscape doesn't have tessellation. It's not like it's using nanite displacement. I mean, it doesn't have tessellation whatsoever. As far as I can see, it's a flat landscape because they're using the landscape tool. There's a landscape material. Like I said, I already got into the game files. There's a landscape material. There's a master landscape material. There's vertex painting. There's all of that, like the usual things that you would do with landscape when you're working on a real game. Nowadays, you can do nanite displacement on the landscape, and it looks amazing. Like, at least I haven't tested myself in a video game, but I've done it for renders, and it looks awesome. That's not here. I don't see it. It's flat. And when I look at the geometry of the level, it's also flat. If you look at this part of the recording, it's flat. There's not a lot of geometry detail. They are using nanite from what I've heard. And you do need Nanite to use Lumen GI to a point. There are some tweaks in there that you can do, but this is using Nanite for Nanite's sake. This game doesn't need it because of its art style. This game doesn't need a high try count. So is that why this game performs so bad? I'm not sure. I'll have a talks with Wild Dogs. If you've been to the channel, you know him. Fantastic guy to talk about game engines. So I think I'll ask him what's going on with this one. But so far, in my department, there is no reason for this game to perform the way that it does. You know, for a game that would need DLSS that I would justify, that was performing at 50 frames per second on a 5090 without DLSS, would be something that looks like this. So what you're seeing here is not a video game. This is a map that I loaded inside the Unreal Engine editor. In fact, if I press G, you can see all the little icons. That means that I'm in editor. But what I mean is, look at the geometrical detail of this. Look at the reflections and everything that's going on. Look at the pebbles and everything. So this is something that I would justify having DLSS as a must, because all of the geometrical detail, and this is what I think Nanite was built for. Not what you saw in the recording, not something as flat as the landscape in Borderlands or the rocks. You can see the rocks here, how much geometrical detail they have. Look at this. Look at this rock compared to what you saw in that recording at the beginning. And I'm not saying that Borderlands needs to look realistic. All I'm saying is, if you're going to have a game that is stylized, that you don't need such a geometrical detail for, why are you trying to use these technologies that were tailored to a game that is supposed to look like this? And by the way, don't mind the frame rate here. It's good, but this isn't representative of what a game would be. So I just have this in my editor. But what I want to show you is, yeah, the amount of geometry that would justify using Nanite is something like this. These are gazillion of polygons. If I go on and turn wireframe, you can see the density of this. You can see how dense everything is. Like, look at all that. Look at all that geometry. The geometry in Borderlands, it's not even a cent of this. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I did get a look at the files of this game. As you can see, this is the Paladin character. I'm not gonna go too deep into the models because I'm not doing a dissected on this game. But yeah, the models are nice. Don't mind the try count here. The reason for that try count is because of the weapons. And I have one of the weapons down here, and as you can see, it's not like one of the weapons that you'll see in Borderlands. It is a lot of tries, and the reason why I think it's a lot of tries is because on each weapon file, they have all the customizations possible for that particular gun. So that's why it's this insane amount. If I ever do a proper dissected video on this game, I'll probably clean this file up and show you the weapon as it is. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting, the fact that they load all the customization for the weapons into one single file. So why did they do this? I have some thoughts about what's going on with Borderlands that I'm going to talk about in a coming video, but I'll give you an early access. And this is a little bit of a tinfoil hat conspiracy. I think NVIDIA was pushing DLSS on this game. So the guys at the top said to the developers, okay, you need to make it so that people need DLSS to run this game, which again is insane. There's no reason for this game to be needing DLSS. So like I said, I'll expand on those thoughts in another video, but just so you know, I ended up refunding the game because it's $70. It shouldn't be crashing this hard on a machine like this. And I know there's tweaks. There's some people that have suggested, hey, have you done this? Have you done that? And thank you for that, by the way. But it is a $70 game. It should just work. And if I had bugs where, like, you know, character flies off in the air, clips through the geometry, that's fine. That's something that is expected in an open world game. But a hard crash 3 times in the starting area, at least for me, that's not acceptable. So what do you think? Do you think this is acceptable? Would you just keep on playing the game and wait for them to patch it? Or would you refund it like I did and maybe buy it later down the line when it's completely fixed? Let me know in the comment section down below. Now, I do have more videos coming out about this subject, so make sure you subscribe, ring that bell for notification, leave a like, leave a comment, because it goes a long way for helping the channel nowadays that the algorithm requires engagement. Thank you so much for watching all the way to this point, and I'll see you in the next one.